And the breaking news this morning, just a stunning development here on the campus of Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island. Police released the man who had been detained as a person of interest in the deadly shooting here that happened right in that building behind me with those white squares. That's the engineering building where 2 people were killed and 9 injured. Rhode Island's Attorney General says that the evidence now points in a different direction. Speaking overnight, the mayor of Providence acknowledged that authorities have no way of knowing if the shooter is still in the area or has left the state.
We know that this is likely to cause fresh anxiety for our community. And we want to reiterate what we said earlier, which remains true, which is ever since the initial call, now a day and a half ago, we have not received any credible or specific threats to the Providence community.
All right, 2 students were killed, at least 9 others injured in the attack, which happened Saturday afternoon in a Principles of Economics review session. Surveillance footage shows someone who the police believe is the gunman wearing dark clothing leaving the university building where it has happened. Again, that's the street that we're standing on right now, Hope Street. CNN's Brian Todd is here with me with this breaking news, which just so radically changes the situation here at Brown this morning. Brian, what are you learning?
It is extraordinary, John, this turn of events where this person of interest, by the way, regarding whom they had gathered a lot of evidence. We were there all day yesterday at that hotel in Coventry when they were processing evidence for that person, now is released. You know, the decision as to why they released it, the police chief, Oscar Perez, did speak about that. Here is some of what the police chief said about basically how they came to this decision last night.
This was a very complex investigation, and it still is. So in the sense, we followed on a lead, and we followed on a specific lead, but we were able to examine every single evidence that led us to this individual. And at that point, that's how investigations work. Investigations will tell us whether something is valid or not, whether something needs to be ruled out. It's not a mistake. It's just how investigations work.
And a couple of extraordinary things here, John. Number one, the mayor, Brent Smiley, saying last night they have no way of knowing whether the gunman is in the community or even in the state. And yet they are saying that there is no credible or no immediate threat to the community, and there's no need for a lockdown or no need for a shelter in place. Those 2 things may seem kind of incongruous here as this investigation continues. So we have to dig on this. You know, is there any indication of where this gunman may be? It's extraordinary that they're saying they have no way of knowing whether this person is in the state or not. I think another question that we have to kind of dig on here that they're not giving a lot of answers to is the surveillance footage. Is there any more than that one piece of footage of the guy going around the corner? They did say there was very little or no footage from inside the building from that moment. So we have to kind of figure out, or hopefully the authorities will give us some clues as to whether there's more surveillance footage.
We just don't know what they have at this point or where they even begin. One thing that we should make clear, they never publicly stated the name of this person of interest. This was something that was developed by CNN and other outlets via sources from inside there. But they were careful throughout the day about releasing information, but it turned out they just don't feel like they had the right guy. Brian Todd, great reporting on this. Obviously, a lot more to do. Thank you very much. With us now, CNN law enforcement analyst Jonathan Wackrow. Jonathan, great to see you this morning. Let's start with where we are and where we're going. So what now? I mean, after you have a person of interest in custody, you develop all this kind of evidence on that person, but it turns out you now believe he's not connected. What do you do?
Yeah, well, John, listen to that sigh of relief that authorities had announced when they stated that they had a person of interest in custody has really been replaced by this sobering reset in the entire investigation. And the reality is it brings investigators back to square one. They have no suspect in custody, and really they're not even intimating that they have somebody that they're even looking at. And the challenge is that as time goes on, this investigation gets significantly harder. So this is a really hard reset, going back to almost square one, where they have to go back and reassess every single lead that they had, right in the aftermath of the shooting, going back to reassessing all of the ballistic evidence, all of the digital leads, to the point that Brian Todd was making just a moment ago. They have to go back through that surveillance video and dig deeper. They have to dig deeper into the neighborhood, into the community, and anything that will give us a better image of who this suspect potentially is and where they're going. So again, there is a monumental task ahead with a lot of challenges around time, distance, and resources that are up against law enforcement investigators this morning.
And there is this reality, Jonathan. There's a killer on the run, on the loose right now. They have no one in custody. A lot of, I think, the atmosphere on campus yesterday was this sigh of relief that they had someone. People felt safer. You know, I'm standing right on the street. That is the crime scene right behind me. No police cars within view. Some police tape there, though, right now. How safe is this city?
Well, listen, this is the challenge for public safety officials right now and university officials. What they must do is they must act on facts, not fear, while trying to keep the city functioning as they move this investigation forward. We said early on that there were a lot of indications that this attacker and this incident was a targeted attack against someone or the university in and itself. With that as the context and laid out by a lot of the attack dynamics, the fact that the students aren't there reduces that target profile. So our officials worried with real-time intelligence that there will be a secondary attack to that location or the city at large. Right now, they're not even indicating that they have any of that information. But the reality is that they need to act with precision in terms of what they're going to do with this investigation, not paralysis around how do they just lock everything down. Time has gone by now. We haven't seen any indication of a secondary threat or a targeted group that's working together. So with that in mind, investigators really have to move quickly through all of the evidence that they do have to ensure that they identify a suspect and bring that suspect into custody quickly.
The authorities said they had no idea if the person was in the city or even in the state. At this point, 36 hours after the incident, how far afield could this suspect be?
Immediately the shooter created that time and distance by evading police in the moments after the attack. And so the challenge for law enforcement is they allowed for potentially physical evidence to degrade. You look at digital signals will also go cold. And as they go back to re-interview witnesses, who many of which have now gone home for the holidays, the memories start fading. Those details that are really important in the aftermath of an incident around, maybe a particular gate that the person walked in, or the way that they comported themselves as they were walking through a hallway or out on the street, they start losing that fidelity. So it puts investigators up to a significant challenge on how are they going to reset this investigation. And final point here, John, is in the immediate aftermath, we saw this surge of federal, state, and local resources all converging on Brown University, right where you're standing. Look around, they're not there anymore. So the challenge is with this monumental task of resetting the investigation, their resources are limited right now, and they have to rebuild those resources to lead this investigation forward.
All right, Jonathan Wackwell, great to have you on, helping us understand this, frankly, stunning twist in this investigation.